You're listening to the Platform Launchers podcast. I'm John Stongi, and it's great to have you with us this week, as always, because we're going to be talking about building and growing and monetizing your online platform. We're super excited about the topic that we're going to be talking about this week. We're going to be talking to my friend, Matthew Fender, who has an eBay reselling business. And right now, if you're into online platform development, you may be asking yourself, all right, what direct connection does eBay reselling have with developing a message-based online platform? Well, I'm convinced that there are lots and lots of areas of overlap. And so we're going to be asking Matthew about how he built his business and all the details that go into that. And we're just going to be brainstorming some of the ways that those things overlap with our online platforms. Really quickly, before I start peppering Matthew with a bunch of questions, I just wanted to let you know that you can stop over at platformlaunchers.com and you could get a free copy of our 21-day platform development planning guide. If you're in the process of trying to figure out how you want to build, grow, and monetize an online platform for yourself, that'll help you figure it out. It'll help you discover your message, figure out how you're going to monetize it, figure out how you're going to deliver your content. We've got that free right on the homepage of platformlaunchers.com. But without any further delay or ado, I just want to welcome my friend, Matthew Fender, to the Platform Launchers podcast. Welcome, Matthew.
Hey, John. Thanks
It's
for
good to
having
have
me.
you. Yeah, we're
Thank
glad to
you.
have you here. Matt was just talking with some of our members here just a moment ago, giving them a little bit of a picture of some of the things that he does. And Matt, I thought it would be kind of interesting to just start off with a little bit about yourself and a little bit about maybe just like a picture of your entrepreneurial background. So could you kind of set it up for us that way? Give us a picture of yourself and how you got into just being the entrepreneur that you are.
Yeah, I definitely have been gifted with an entrepreneurial spirit for sure. And I think a lot of that started in high school when I started selling candy. And I would go to Sam's Club, just buy in bulk, and I would carry around a duffel bag and sell candy to other people. And then I started to get my friends to do it as well. So it was like just a natural progression over the years, I suspect. So that's kind of how it started, I think.
I love that.
Um,
So you're basically like funding your day-to-day life through candy sales through the school. Did the school ever ask for a cut?
No, they never asked for a cut, and I was actually surprised because sometimes, like, the math teacher would be like, "Hey, if you get this problem right, I'll get you a candy bar from Matt." So it was like I was in, at
I
that
love that.
point.
You'll appreciate this. My sons, and when they were in middle school, they used to go to Sam's Club and they would buy, or Walmart, and they would buy the bulk Pop Tarts, like that you could buy like the big box of those,
Right.
and they would sell them on the bus on the way to school. So they would really clean up doing that. They'd sell a 2-pack for $1, and I think normally it'd cost them like probably 25 cents for that.
Yeah.
And so, all right, very much in the Matt Fender school of high school entrepreneurism, right?
Right.
I love
Yeah, so
that.
that's how that started, yeah.
Okay, so that's always been something you've always kind of had that bug. Anyone else in your family that you feel like, as you think about it, there are others in your family that do that sort of thing too, or were you the main entrepreneur?
I think I was probably the one who started, and then I think my younger brother also has that gift as well and kinda picked up on that because he ended up doing some of the same things in high school, and, like, he would sell shirts and stuff like that as well, like, custom design shirts and whatnot.
I love that. So now, all right, you're highly involved in eBay, and I'm gonna have like I have a whole bunch of specific questions I'm gonna ask you about eBay in just a second. But give us
Okay.
like the high level view of what your business looks like. The scale of it, the anything like that that you're willing to share with us. What's the high
Okay.
level view for starters?
Alright, so the high level view is essentially like the product that I sell is I sell model trains, used model trains. That's the market that I'm in. Um, I have about 1,000 square feet, I would say, in my basement that I've dedicated to model trains. Basically, the trains have to come in, they have to get listed on eBay, and they have to get shipped out. So I think I have about like roughly 950 items listed right now in the store. Um, and I've been selling a lot of trains, over the past few years. But kind of the motto is you got to get them in and get them out, and that's the high level view. We can talk more specifics about like how I get the trains and stuff like that, but that's the
Sure.
high level.
Yeah, and it's interesting. So you basically turn 1,000 square feet into a local train station at this point now, so they're in and out, and
Yeah.
you've got 950 listings going at any given time, so that's useful to know as well. All right, so I'm gonna work up to this, and if there's something that I don't think to ask that you think is important, feel free as we work our way through this to interject, because I think people are gonna be curious about it, but my first question is this: what's the first thing you remember purchasing from eBay back in the day?
Oh, from eBay back in the day. I'm sure I bought just some clothing, like a jacket, and
Okay.
that's pretty much it. I don't remember purchasing too much from eBay, but I do remember, like a jacket.
And somewhere along the way, it went from being someone that was a shopper to a seller. So what was the first thing that you sold on eBay? Was it a model train or was it something else?
No, it definitely was not a model train. It started with like tools,
Okay.
um and other just various higher dollar items that I figured, you would try to take like these things to like a pawn shop or whatever to just kind of get rid of it, and they weren't really offering that much money. So then it was kind of like, well, how much is this thing actually worth? And then you can go to eBay and find these sold comps that says, oh, so like I can sell this for at least 100 or something like that. So well, I can do that. Let me do that. Let me try that out. And so that's how it kind of started, with a couple items at first.
So right there, you just use terms that people that are listening to us are going to say, "All right, I want to hear more about this." So someone listening right now is going to say, whether they're watching us on YouTube or listening to us on the podcast, they're going to want to know, what is a sold comp and how does it work to actually do like a little research through a sold comp?
Okay. A sold comp is essentially what someone is willing. It's the data that shows what someone has actually paid for an item, either that specific item with the same model number. If you take, for example, that radio that you have on your shelf in the back of you, yeah, you can type in the model of that radio, and then you filter the results by sold. And so over the past 90 days, it'll show you how many times that item has sold and for how much. And that's how you can get your data to figure out, okay, this is how much someone's willing to pay for this,
So is
roughly.
that all done somehow through the eBay app?
That's done through the eBay app. Yeah, and it's completely free, by the way.
So how,
Doesn't
if
cost any
someone's
money.
looking for that, where would they find that in the app?
You would just, let's see, you would go to eBay, you would type in the search, and there's an actual filter in the upper right. Um, and it just says you go show more, and it'll show you sold items, like a box that you just kind of click. I don't know if I too bad I can't screen share, but that would be kind of cool.
Yeah,
um
well, I guess it would be, but I see what you mean. I pulled up the eBay app on my phone here as I'm talking to
yeah,
you. So I did a search for something and then filter, and then when
yeah,
you're in
which is in the top right.
yep, and then when you're in filter, you're looking for I see a variety of things here. I see condition, price,
Hmm.
category, stuff like that. So you'd click price.
No, you actually clicked sold items, which you may have to click show more.
All right. Okay. For some reason I don't see the show more, but I believe oh yeah, I do see it. Okay. All right, and then you go into sold items. Oh, yeah, I see
Hmm.
that. So I have to
Yep.
click that as a setting. So I click
Yeah,
that, sold items,
and now you
and
look.
all right, and it says show 18 results. And so I click that.
Hmm.
Oh, yeah, okay. Oh, wow, that's fascinating. That's really
Yeah,
cool.
so
So it shows me all the different price points that people have purchased different, like different items here that I'm searching for. I like it. Okay, very cool. All right, so already you've given us one of the tricks of the trade as
yeah.
far as how to research the prices. Um, But okay, so eventually, so you started with selling tools, and you're looking at comps with some of these tools. Tools certainly hold value. How do tools turn into model trains? Because I remember at one point I asked you, I had this assumption that you were just personally really into model trains, and you had mentioned to me, you're like, no, I'm not really personally into model trains. I'm into the fact that they are good business to sell. So how did tools go into how did tools become model trains?
I was looking for a way to source things where I wouldn't have to go out and spend so much time to, go to like yard sales and estate sales to pick things up. I wanted to basically source, a large number of items in one shot to save a lot of time, for sourcing things.
Right.
So, um, I did have a little bit of an introduction when my father passed away. He had a lot of stuff, and I started going through the bins like no one wanted these model trains, and I started going through them, and I started looking at the sold comps on eBay, and I was like, "Wow, like people buy these. That's interesting." Um, and so it kind of started with that.
Okay. Yeah, so and you just discovered that that was a useful niche to find yourself in.
Yeah, for myself, but I think I also enjoy just the, older toys, like the vintage toys and that kind of stuff. Like I think I saw someone had like, Star Wars in the background of,
Yeah, yeah,
I
Brian has that.
I
Brian
kinda
Mays,
like it
he's one of our members here. Yep.
I kinda get, like, gravitated towards that kind of thing.
Yeah, so you're looking for all sorts of stuff with that. I imagine, I always see MOC by a lot of those things, and it's standing for mint on card, right? So if it's
Right.
still in the packaging and the packaging is in really nice shape, it'll have that MOC moniker next to it. So I could speak some of the lingo, Matt. But yeah, so all right, so you discovered that niche. So you said you were trying to find stuff that would be easy to source. So how do you source it?
Well, alright, so I first started on Craigslist. Okay, I would put out these ads. Hey, I buy model train collections. Let me know what you have. Send me a couple photos. And I did score a couple collections that way at first. Surprisingly, there was a tremendous amount of competition on there,
Oh,
and you would post your ad, and then someone would come by and post their ad, and so your ad would keep getting shoved down to the bottom. And I
right.
said, I got to figure out a way like around this Craigslist. And so then I got with actually my brother-in-law Josh.
Yep.
He builds and designs websites, and he said, "Hey, like I can get you a website." And I said, like let's give it a shot. Let's see what happens.
Okay.
And so he built a website for me, and after that, then I put it on Google. Like so if you type in Bucks County, sell your trains, I'm probably one of the first people who come up.
Do you pay for that to come up? Like, is it a sponsored result, or do you
No,
just
it's
have good
not a
SEO?
sponsored. Yeah, it's not a good. It's not a sponsored result. I
Okay.
don't pay anything for it.
Right.
It's just I don't quite understand. I know that if I pumped more money into it to advertise, I could get even more business. But I'm very satisfied with the way things are
No, that's
going right
perfect.
now.
Yeah, there no, that's one of the concepts we talk about all the time. This is why I think there's a lot of overlap between what you're doing and what many of us are doing, because one of our goals, I know with the websites that I run and our members here, as they're live on the call and plenty of people that are listening or watching us right now, they would be very desirous to have good search engine placement. And one of the things that contributes to that from a message-based platform is keeping your content fresh and making sure that it has good keywords. So like if you have a blog, you're updating your blog at least once a week, things like that, and you're using keywords that people are searching for. You just
Mhm.
referenced keywords. So you're saying you're in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. So Bucks County and was it Bucks County model trains or Bucks County trains for sale or sell your trains in Bucks
Yeah,
County?
actually, the website name is just selltrains.com.
Okay,
and
that's a
that
ridiculously good domain also.
yeah, yeah, and I can thank my brother-in-law, Josh, for that because he was like he called me out of nowhere and was like, "Hey, this domain is for sale," and I was like, "Let's buy it. Let's
Buy it
go." Like,
immediately.
yeah, yeah,
Selltrains.com. I am
yeah,
such a huge fan of not creative, totally obvious, boring titles that are like the most searchable terms online. Some
right.
people get so creative and it makes it so hard to find their stuff. And if you can find the most obvious thing, like a short obvious thing, and find a .com that goes with it, like that's beautiful. Selltrains.com. That seems to me like like valuable online real estate. That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah,
And I'm not
and
trying to call your domain boring, by the way. I mean boring
no,
as a
it's okay.
compliment.
Yeah, I like it like that, just, short and to the point, you know?
Yeah.
Um, and then also on the web page itself, one thing I think that I try to set myself apart from other people who kind of buy trains is you can go to our sell page, which is a Facebook page,
Okay.
and the Facebook page is a business page, and it shows the stuff that we bought over the weeks. Like, hey, we're a business, we're buying model trains. Here's the stuff that's coming in. We're doing this a lot. Let's we can buy your collection, no problem.
Excellent. And so I'm guessing then, now this is more of like a business finance type question, but I'm guessing as this started to turn a profit and as you were starting to kind of like bank some of the benefit of the sales that you made, that you probably reinvested that back into the business, at least initially, so that you could build up
Oh
your
yeah,
stock.
yeah. Actually, yeah. So I could build up my stock, but when I first started, I would actually go to dumpsters to find like used boxes
Okay.
to for shipping items and stuff
Yeah.
because they were free and I didn't have a whole lot of money,
Right.
at the start of it. Now I don't have time. Like I just buy the box. I don't have the time and I have the money now. So it's like just buy the boxes. Stop being cheap, you know?
I saw your whole shipping arrangement too. You've got a whole shipping arrangement. By the way, full disclaimer, I've made 2 purchases from, Matt Fender. One was a friend of mine. I'm an Eagles fan, but one of my friends is a big Bears fan. He's actually a member of Platform Launchers, Ryan Reevely, and, he's a big Bears fan, and so, you had a 1985 Chicago Bears world champion hat that I just knew that he would love, and so would his father-in-law. He actually gave it to his father-in-law, who's an even bigger Bears fan than he is. But I have a classic Stanley thermos that I bought from your operation there, because I know you sell trains, but you sell other things
Right.
too.
Yeah, just a lot of like I just enjoy the vintage items of past time, like very nostalgic, like the old Stanley, and like vintage hats, just like anything like that. It kind of catches my eye, and I enjoy selling it.
And that's what oftentimes, like, when I go to eBay, it's usually to find something I can't find in a store because it's old. And it's something I like, or something I remember from my childhood that I'm like, I wonder if I could find one of these and buy it again. That's what they say people do, right? It's like
Right.
you get to a certain stage, you collect your childhood.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Yep.
So that's what people are doing. Like you're basically selling back people's childhood to them.
Yes, yeah. And I sell other things too, like other older toys, like, vintage Hot Wheel cars and, wind up toys and old tin toys, that kind of stuff. But like you were saying, like just people are nostalgic and they want to buy their childhood.
Yeah, I do it. I think a lot of people probably do it.
Yeah,
All right, this is a 4-part question. So can I ask a 4-parter? Let's
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 go.
let's see how this goes. This probably should be 4 separate questions, but I'm going to ask a 4-part question and see what you do with it. I want to know what you've learned about marketing, momentum, reviews, and not quitting. Marketing, momentum, reviews, and not quitting. So, in any
Okay.
order that you would want to answer that. But I think all of those are not only relevant to your business, but to anyone that's trying to build a message based online platform. We need all those things. Marketing, we could take them one at a time. What have you learned about marketing?
Okay. Marketing. I Well, for myself, I guess what's worked is just kind of simple, like, web pages, not a whole lot of stuff to kind of read through. It's just, do you want to sell your trains? Here's a couple steps. Send me a couple photos to get started. I'll help you out. I'll let you know if I'm interested or not. So
Okay.
just not throwing out kind of too much information, and showing people that we're a business, and people are dealing with us a lot. So that should say something that, like, we're experienced in this. We're not we're here for the long haul, and we want to help you out and help you downsize.
Excellent, which is probably a big motivation for many of the people selling these collections. They're trying to
Yes.
downsize, and so
Yes.
okay, so right there, you've taught us something important about marketing. You're focusing on what that person genuinely needs. Your marketing isn't focused on
Right.
what you need, it's what they need. They need to
Right.
downsize. You're helping them downsize.
Correct. Yes. I'm solving that problem for them.
You're
Yes.
solving that problem. I love that. Alright, what about momentum? What have you learned related to momentum?
For momentum, I would say it's extremely helpful for the business, especially you kind of get into these rhythms with the momentum of, like, all right, I can't have this stuff sitting here or else it's just going to keep piling up, piling up. Like, you have to get into these, rhythms to the momentum helps you establish a schedule. It helps me establish a schedule anyway. And it just helps things, to keep it moving, get them in and get them out.
Nice. What's a typical amount of time it takes to sell something? It's probably different all the way around,
Yeah,
but
it's definitely different, but the trains, they don't sell, like, they don't usually fly off the shelf. We're talking
yeah.
about, anywhere from a few days to can be a year and a half for it to
Okay.
finally get off the shelf. So
But if you have enough
they're
listings out there, I guess that wouldn't
and it
matter too much, right?
exactly, exactly. It all just kind of overlaps each other, and it just kind of starts adding up.
Yeah, something's gonna sell.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
What about reviews? I know that's pretty important in just about anything you do, but eBay, definitely your reviews are gonna help, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's probably one of my tougher areas that I've had to deal with, is dealing with people. That's probably the hardest part, is shipping
Always
these
is.
products out. And and I get it. Sometimes you're expecting one thing, and it comes and it's not as expected, and you have to deal with people and figure out a common solution. But I learned to just not take it personal, and it's just business at this point. And um, I just do, like, a lot of free returns. You don't want it, you got a problem with it, just ship it back and let's keep it moving. It's
Right.
nothing personal. It's just, and you kind of build that into your price.
That's smart. I like that. And then what about just this idea of not quitting? And I'll tell you the reason I'm asking that even as I ask it. A lot of times, anything someone's trying to build online, whether it's a business, a platform, whatever you wanna call it, there's a season where you don't have the momentum yet. You're still building things up. You don't have a track record. It's just a dream. It's an idea, but you have to keep with it long enough for it to actually gain some of the momentum or the growth or any of those things that it's going to need, or the reviews, or even to just get used to doing it yourself. So what does it look like for you to stay with this long enough for it to actually succeed? You stayed with it. You didn't quit. So how's that looked?
um, I know that there were definitely plenty of times and weeks where I just was, like, extremely tired. I mean, just exhausted, and just cranking out the listings, and shipping out the products, and just kind of fighting through that fatigue. Um, I think the other part, maybe, as well, as time progressed, is, I'm a person of faith, and I believe, in God, and kind of what, and His Son, dying on the cross for me, and whatnot. And really trying to figure out, like, God, is this what you want me to do, like, in my life, in my bit, with this business? Am I serving you? Am I serving other people? And what does that look like, and give me wisdom to deal with people, and give me wisdom to keep going, and how to deal with this. And
Mhm.
I honestly believe that that has been the main contributor to my success. I actually don't think I'm that smart of a person, and I think that I I don't think that my brother-in-law just showed up out of nowhere and was like, "Let me build you this website." I don't find that to be a coincidence. So, I think for me, that's the reason for the success is not so much me, I guess I would say.
You feel like it's you look at what is going on around you and you say, "Yeah, this is definitely evidence of the hand of God choosing to
Right.
bless the fruit of my labors here."
I would agree with that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it reminds me of, something the Apostle Paul said in, 1 Corinthians. He makes the comment, he's like, "What do we have that we have not received?" Right? It's just like this, an idea of humility when we look at the things that we have. It's like, yeah, we can't claim to be the smartest or the one that earned it all or whatever. What do we have that we have not received, right? It's if we it's a gift to you, right? It's a gift to you.
Right.
So, I love that. Do you have, somebody's trying to figure out if they'd like to do something like this, and they're trying to figure out like what's a good system to do this. So I know you have some systems in place. What would be like the general system that you walk something through?
The general system, like, I guess for big collections and stuff like that, is getting it in, sorting it out, figuring out what's going to be profitable enough to sell on eBay. You really don't want to sell, things for in where I'm at now. I have certain price points where I don't want to invest any time unless I'm making, X amount of dollars. So figuring out, is it worth it to post? If it is, um, getting it posted, um, and then shipping products out. So that's kind of like the system. But I think what's important is to understand the market on the item, and make sure that you see those sold comps, and you make sure that this stuff is going to move, and you're not putting in all this work for nothing.
So that's one of the real key things. What that secret you gave us right at the beginning, looking at sold comps through the app. That's key if anyone's going to be doing this.
Right.
But so when something comes in, I'm also thinking, and this'll sound boring to you because you do this all the time, but I know you got to take pictures of it, right? So you have
Right.
kind of like a picture area where you stage
Right.
things, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, actually, what ends up happening is, if we're gonna get, I guess, more into the process, is
Yeah, yeah, totally.
I have all of the trains that are going to be sold. Um, I actually will get drafts created for them, and then those drafts show up in the, like, kind of the database, and then the lister, whoever's listing the items, they have that draft already made up, and so all they have to do is just take the pictures. So it's a pretty lean process
So
where.
can I pause you there? When you say a
Mhm.
draft, you're talking about the written data about the item, right?
Yes,
And you're
exactly.
saying this is something you've come up with or something you can find out there?
Well, no, eBay has what's called a listing template. So
Oh,
basically, you can, like, say you wanted to sell baseball cards, you can create a listing template that says, you can start off with baseball card or whatever, and you can create, 40 drafts of that, and it's all the information. So you don't have to, like, physically type in with your phone, like, everything. It's already kind of there, and
okay.
all you have to do is just take the pictures. And so it's a streamlined process to kind of get your listings up in a
Nice.
quick manner.
Okay. How long do you typically list something for? How many days?
Um, I think, like, my average sell through rate of, like, a product is most on average is probably like 2 or 3 months. It's usually gone. There's
Okay, so
some
you could
long.
you could put something up there for that long?
Yeah, you mean, like, once it's listed in the store, and then once it's bought,
Yeah, so, like,
or.
you could list something on eBay that stays there for months?
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. You have the like, if you have an item that's been there for a while, that's what I call a long tail item. That thing has
Okay.
been sitting. So if you see it's been sitting, you can take your store and you can put things on sale. You got to start moving the inventory. You can't just
Right.
let it sit there and collect. You got to get it in and get it out.
Right. Nice.
So yeah.
Okay, and then you have a whole shipping station kinda set up at, where you've got all this set up in your home.
Right. And with you asked me, like, was I investing anything back into the business? And one of the things that I did invest in was a bubble maker. So I create my own bubbles, like, the plastic
That
rock
just sounds
bubbles.
so fun. Like, that just seems like reason enough to get into
Yeah.
eBay so that you have an excuse to buy a bubble maker.
Yeah, the kids definitely, they have a great time with it.
I'm assuming. Yeah, you could just, incentivize them to clean their room, and it's like, "Listen, I'll print you up a sheet of bubble wrap if you, clean your room," and then they could snap the bubbles or something like that. I don't know, bubble wrap was always the coolest thing when I was a kid.
Yeah. So I have that so I can manufacture bubbles. You just press the button and it spits these things out. And then I have like an electric tape dispenser because after a while, like, my arms were getting tired boxing
Right.
up all these things, and I just have to start streamlining things.
Nice. Now you're at the point where this has grown, and so there's certain things you won't even list now. What's the ideal profit on one item? If you're gonna list an item, what kind of profit do you wanna make on one thing?
I would at least like $10 at the
Okay,
least
at the
per
least.
item. If I'm paying someone to list these things for me and ship them out, that's what I want my profit to be at the
Right.
end. That's pretty much the lowest price point I'm at in my business
To
right
actually do
now.
that.
Like, yeah, I don't want to list things and only make like $1 or whatever. And believe me, that's where I started,
Right.
but you kind of get more into it, and you want your time to be worth it.
Totally. And what would be the most profit you've ever made on a single item?
On a single item, um I would say probably roughly around like $1,700,
On a single item.
on a single item profit. Yeah, like the auction went pretty crazy, and
Super
people just started
collectible. Yep.
yeah, people just started bidding things up, and I'm just kind of like,
What is
what's going
happening?
on? Yeah, what's happening? Yeah,
You're
now
looking around and you're like, "Well, looks like we're getting new appliances and we're getting"
right. Yeah, now it certainly doesn't happen all the time, but when that
No.
does happen, it's certainly fun. That's for
That's
sure.
that's awesome. And now and we're gonna wind this down here. This is super fun. You gave us a lot of useful info. But now one of the cool things I know that you're doing is you're at the point where now you employ additional help to help you get this done. So
Right.
you're
Yeah.
you're you're employing people to do what things? What tasks are you now paying others to do?
The task is listing and taking all the photos and stuff. That has been something that I haven't been. I don't enjoy that as much anymore, and I would
Right?
rather pay someone to do that. And so I have people list. They take the photos and everything, and it's been wonderful. And I
I
think
love
my next step is to find somebody who's going to ship my products because I'm getting tired of shipping stuff.
And you know what? It all comes right back to high school Matt Fender with a backpack full of candy who was like, "You know what? I can sell this, or I could have a whole army of other students doing all these different tasks and all that." You're just an entrepreneur at heart, creating work for other people. It's pretty exciting.
Yeah, and along with that, like, I thought it was very strange at first, like, that people would come wanna actually work for me, and with me.
Right?
But I find that, like, it actually really helps out, other people, and, building that community. And it's just I think that that's the way that God designed it in my experience. So
Like
I
a
really like.
Sorry, I interrupted you. I was just gonna say
No,
it's
you're
like a
fine.
win-win scenario for everybody, it sounds
Yeah,
like.
yeah, yes, I would agree with that.
I love that. So Matthew Fender has been with us here on the Platform Launchers podcast. In just a moment, we're going to finish up the podcast here and segue into Q&A time that we have with our members club. So they get to pepper Matthew with a whole bunch of questions here in a second. But if you're listening to us on the podcast or if you're watching us via YouTube and you ever want to jump in on one of these Q&As, it's very simple to do so. Just go to platformlaunchers.com. You could take a free 2-week test drive of our members club, and that allows you to have access to the live calls and our video library and all these Q&A sessions and all that are in our video vault. And we'd love to have you on board. So take a look at that, platformlaunchers.com. We'd love to have you on board. Matt Fender, thank you so much for being our guest.
Yeah, thanks, Sean, and thanks for having me. I appreciate
Selltrains.com.
it. That's
Check
right.
it
Yep.
out.